What is going on YouTube? I am Lamont at Large, and today I am in Natchez, Mississippi. I am here to talk about the unsolved car bomb murder of Warless Jackson. Currently, I'm walking down Minor Street here in Natchez, Mississippi, and this is the same street where on February 27th, 1967, Warless Jackson had just got off of work at the Armstrong rubber plant, which is right down the street from here. And it was his first day being a supervisor chemical mixer. He had gotten the promotion. His pay jumped 17 cents an hour. Now he was officially a supervisor, making $3.11 an hour, working 12 hours a day. Warless had three jobs. He had three jobs because he had 5 mouths to feed, and he did not want his wife working. A upstanding family man, a Korean War vet. At the time, he was the treasurer of the NAACP chapter here in Natchez, Mississippi. Now, back in those days, of course, very, very divisive times between races, and many of his friends had warned Warless about taking that promotion, being that he was the first black man to hold that position at that company. He worked there 12 years and he deserved that position. So he was going to be the first chemical mixer who was the supervisor over white workers. And his friends told him, hey, people are going to be throwing eye darts at you, just be careful. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't too worried about it. He had a family to feed, and you have to do what you got to do to make a living, to bring home food for your children. And as he was driving down that street, that day, he went to make a left turn onto Martin Luther King on his way home when his truck exploded. Now, this is a town of about 15,000 people, and when I say the whole town heard it, literally the whole town of Natchez, Mississippi heard the explosion. Picture yourself 4 blocks away. You're Warless Jackson Jr., 8 years old. He heard the explosion, and as any curious 8-year-old would do, he gets on his bicycle and follows the smoke. So he's riding his bicycle and he comes down the street and notices there's a smoldering truck. It's his dad's truck. He runs to his dad's truck and he sees his father in pieces, in absolute pieces. Everybody is coming out of the house seeing what's going on. The blast was so powerful, it launched car parts across the street to these houses right here, and on the other side of these houses to those houses over there, and all over here too. To this day, the murder remains unsolved. There's been a couple suspects, but those that were possibly involved in the murder have long since been killed. And it was often suspected that it was a form of the branch of the KKK, because back in those days, that was I guess it was some kind of a popular thing to be. And there was quite a few workers that were involved in those activities at the Armstrong rubber and tire plant here in Natchez, Mississippi. So this is about exactly where the truck exploded. And as you can see, obviously the houses have been rebuilt because there would have been way too much damage. And there is a marker here. You could read that right there. So this is, in fact, a historical site. And I want to thank the gentleman who lives in this house. He was very nice. I told him I'd be filming and he was really cool with it. And as you can see, there's Martin Luther King Street down the way right there. And as he's going down the street right here, this is where he would be making a left-hand turn. And the bomb was rigged to where when he made a turn and he signaled with the left turn blinker that the truck would explode. Currently, I am at the location where Armstrong Tire Factory used to be at. This place originally was built in 1939. It was built with a $300,000 bond between the city of Natchez and the owner of the tire manufacturer. So they had made a deal where if he came to Natchez to work, to bring jobs to the local economy, there would be no local taxes due from Armstrong Tire. The rent would be free for the first 5 years, and then after that, rent would only be $3,600 a month. Originally, when it was built and started production, it employed about 200 people, but going into the late 50s, early 60s, it employed well over 1,000 people, and this was a major employer for the city of Natchez. But also this location was the scene of a lot of civil rights protests, black workers, you know, protesting for better working conditions, better wages, so forth and so on. And this was a site where at that time, on August 27, 1965, the president of the NAACP Natchez chapter, George Metcalf, somebody had placed a bomb under his car in an attempt to kill him. It gravely wounded him, but he did survive the blast, but he was never the same, and believe that he was never able to work after the explosion. And another Armstrong employee was with him, but neither men were killed. And after about the middle of the summer of 1986, Armstrong decided to close down the plant, and many jobs were lost when it closed down. And then residents and local leaders here in Natchez decided to buy the factory, and they opened it up under the name Fidelity Tire Company, which was then later sold in 1998 to Titan International. So there's still jobs here, people are still working. And then of course, workers start striking over the working conditions and the pay, and striking over some law having to do with the Clean Water Act. And unfortunately for workers and residents of Natchez, Mississippi, there's 49 other states that a company can do business in. Businesses love doing business in states where, you know, the taxes are low, so forth and so on. Businesses this size who employ well over 1,000 people are going to avoid opening up business in states with high taxes, a lot of laws when it comes to pollution, which, you know, it's a double-edged sword at the end of the day. So they ended up closing the plant permanently in 2001, taking lots of jobs. Lots and lots of jobs. And as you can see, this place is just abandoned and just sits here rusting away. So we're gonna take a quick drive across town. I'm gonna take you to the grave of the man who was murdered. I am at Natchez National Cemetery, which is a cemetery where veterans are buried, and after 30 minutes I've finally found the grave of Warless Jackson. You can see right here, Warless Jackson, Mississippi, Private First Class Infantry, Korea, December 7th, 1930 to February 27th, 1967. A murder that to this day has not been solved. There's been a couple suspects, but nothing. And in an online interview with Wallace Jackson Jr., him approaching his golden years, him becoming almost a senior citizen, to this day, he cannot get over his father's murder. He said this murder, in so many words, ruined his life and made life very difficult. When on that day, when he hears the loudest explosion he's ever heard in his life, he pedals the 4 blocks to the scene to find his father's mangled corpse in the middle of the street and his shoe, blood everywhere. That is a very hard image to get out of your mind. Your own father just blown to pieces. Rest in peace to this young man, only 36 years old when he was murdered. The Department of Justice still has this case as an open, unsolved murder. And the FBI would love to hear from you if you have any information, regardless of the fact if the murderer is no longer here on this earth. The family of Mr. Jackson would like closure in this matter. If anybody has any information about Wallace Jackson's unsolved murder, you simply need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can also submit your tip anonymously online, fbi.gov. There is no statute of limitations when it comes to murder cases. I am Lamont at Large. Thank you for watching my video. I always appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.